Welcome to this SFM overview video. We can start the SFM demo from the overview screen. The SFM Home Page is divided into two areas. On the left, you have the navigation pane where you can select the date, area, and LOPA phase, and underneath you have the various filter options within the plant hierarchy. On the right, information is organized into three groups: safety instrumented functions, independent protection layers, and maintenance overrides. The Sif Overview provides a summarized view of Sif activations organized by SIL level, or safety integrity level. It also shows the total number of SIFs and the number of activations for all SIFs for each SIL. Output faults are showing the number of actuating final elements that have underperformed according to their intended design. The ICSS IPL overview is recording other non-SIS protection layers, for example alarms and DCS. If independent protection layers such as a DCS is not working, its status will be recorded as inactive and shown in the table. The MOS overview is showing how many instruments were overridden for maintenance purposes. The overview screen provides a pretty clear picture of what is going on in our plant. All numbers in these tables are hyperlinked, so we can very quickly navigate to see all the details for any of this recorded safety data. For example, let's look at the Sif Overview table and look at the activations which are rated at SIL 2. The Sif Activation Screen is displaying all Sif activations in ascending date-time order. The latest activation is shown at the top of the page. There are a number of columns that contain critical information relating to all Sif activations with colors to highlight performance. The response time column shows if the Sif was within target time, indicated by a green circle. A red circle indicates that the Sif activated outside of the target time. Or if the target time was not fully detected, this is indicated by a yellow circle. The final elements column has colored indicators to quickly see if actuations meet their targets. The proof test column shows the proof test status for the Sif. The gray icon shows that the activation has not been marked as proof test. The yellow icon is awaiting user acceptance or rejection, and the green icon is marked or accepted as a proof test by the user of any type of proof test. If we click on a Sif activation, we can see all the Sif activation details along with final element actuations that are related to that particular Sif. The top of the page shows the details for the Sif activation and also includes the overall Sif response time, the target time, and the initiating cause for this Sif. The response time is the time calculated to be from the Sif activation to the last final element actuation stop with a start, or an actuation start without a stop, of all the final elements associated with the Sif activation, plus the fixed Sif response adjustment factor time. This is an adjustment value for the parts of the SIS that cannot be monitored in SFM and is defined in the configuration file. We also see the details of each final element associated to this Sif activation. We can see also that device 19 has no end for its duration, meaning that it has a yellow indicator for not fully detected. All final elements are associated, including their status, i.e. within target green, outside of target red, no activation detected grey, and not fully detected yellow. The effects chart shows some information and analog trends that are associated to that activation. You can have up to 5 analog values that are plotted. This can help identify some associated conditions or behavior during the actuation of the device. They are up to the user to define what is required and important for them to visualize. Overlapping on this trend are the key actions, so when a valve started to open and when the valve completed the action. So key triggers for the SIF that can be compared over time. So let's see what happens when a SIF fails to activate. Let's look at a SIF which is showing a failure. We can see that this SIF has three final elements associated: device 19 and device 27 actuated within the target time of 3 seconds. However, device 53 actuated outside of the target time as shown by the red indicator. This alerts users to device actuations that fall outside of their intended design targets. Investigations can be undertaken to identify the possible cause. Another feature of SFM is the initiating causes. So for each SIF, we'll list all the possible initiating causes. There is also the design frequency. It means that the system is monitoring the actual measured frequency or demand frequency compared to the actual designed frequency. So if any of the demand rates exceed the designed frequency, it is an indication of a design oversight in the safety system or something that needs to be reviewed. If we now take a look at the cause and effect matrix. The cause and effect matrix enables users to very quickly verify the logic of SIF activations and final element actuations to see if they match their configured or intended safety design. On the left, we have the SIF name, and across the top, we have all the final elements that are associated. In the SIF column, you will also see a drop-down menu for each row that shows the date of the SIF activation. To the left, you also see a number showing how many SIF activations have been recorded. By clicking on the drop-down, you will see a list of all SIF activations in date-time order. If you click on the number to the left, this is a hyperlink and it will display all the SIF activations filtered for that particular SIF. And you can view the details for each as we showed earlier. If we go back to the cause and effect matrix page, the colored circles show the actuations to see if they match their configured or intended safety design. This page is showing us what happens after there is a demand on a safety instrumented function. If we click on the drop-down and we select different SIF activations, you will see the chart update, reflecting if those final element actuations met their intended safety design targets. The grey indicator reveals that the logic is wrong for that SIF activation, allowing users to verify the SIF logic. The yellow indicator reveals that the limit switch for that final element is broken or not functioning properly. The red indicator is showing that the valve is broken and is outside of target. The green indicator is telling us that the SIF activated within its intended target time. From the cause and effect page, we can also look at the details of each device to see how the final element actuation has performed over a period of time. From this, we can reveal, for example, if a valve has degraded over time. If we look at SIF 35 as an example, here we have 7 SIF activations recorded by SFM. If we click and take a look at the 7 SIF activations, but we want to see the associated final elements. By clicking the View button for any SIF, we will see the details pane for that SIF. We can see that we have one final element associated to the SIF. If we click Actuation History, we can see the final element actuations for device 66. By listing actuations with the most recent at the top, we can see how this final element has performed over a period of time. We can see that the first two actuations were within target. The third, fourth, and fifth actuations are showing that the performance of the valve was outside of the target time. And in the top row, the latest recorded actuation shows that no end was recorded. This shows how something like a valve has degraded over a period of time. Performance for each actuation has gotten progressively worse, and we can clearly identify this in SFM. One of the most critical areas I would like to demonstrate is proof testing functionality. The proof test summary page shows all of the SIFs and their overall proof test status within the selected filters, showing the aggregated expiry date. In the IEC 61511 standards, proof tests may have different test intervals for valves, sensors, and logic solvers. If you click on one of the rows, you can see the proof test details page for the SIF also records all of the proof test types. Within SFM, all proof tests are defined as belonging to a type. A proof test type is the reference to a proof test procedure that has a defined scope, for example, for logic solvers, valves, and final elements. All proof test types are configurable and also include a validity period. A number of proof tests make up the full proof test coverage. This is termed as a proof test group and is shown at the top of the page. SFM is also keeping an historical record of the proof test group. A proof test group is a defined set of proof test types that provide a complete set of proof tests for a SIF or final element. Only when all proof test types have been recorded for a particular proof test group will the summary page indicate that all proof tests are complete along with their aggregated status. The SIFs that have an expired proof test are indicated by the light red background color shown in the top two rows on screen. SFM is configurable to support different proof test scenarios, including proof testing in segments and end-to-end proof testing. This provides greater flexibility for the customer in terms of how they perform proof testing. SFM also allows users to claim a proof test credit due to shutdowns from actual demand on the SIS during operations in certain conditions. We can show this by going to the Sif Activations page. If we click on a SIF and then click on Causes and then select Proof Test, we can see that this Sif activation has automatically been detected as having met the criteria to be used as a proof test. Users can either accept or reject this proof test. The proof test type in the drop-down option only displays the types associated within the configuration of SFM for a SIF proof test for activation. The major benefit for customers is that they don't have to initiate a periodic proof test if an actual demand meets the necessary criteria for that SIF. This proof test can replace the scheduled or periodic proof test and extend the validity period for the SIF proof test. All proof tests not automatically associated to an activation in SFM can also be initiated by adding proof tests from the Proof Test Details page. SFM is collecting all safety-related information and presenting this information in the form of reports, which can be used to document findings and produce evidence on safety system performance. The reports in SFM include the overall SIF report, the SIF input report, the SIF output report, the independent protection layers report, trip inhibit and overrides report, parent and child relationship report, and the SIF activations by hierarchy report. You have a number of filters that are available for each report, including date, functions, integrity levels, devices, plant areas, and hierarchy, so you can really filter for specific areas of interest. This allows you to provide the evidence that regulators and internal authorities are looking for when it comes to monitoring the performance of the safety system. All reports can be exported in a number of formats. So we have PDF format, which is very common and can be easily shared, CSV format for further analysis in Excel. We also have Word, Excel, or a TIFF graphical file. There is also an interactive web archive, which enables users to interact with the report even if it is saved on the disk. This shows the main features and functionality of SFM. To recap, in this demo, we have shown you the SIF Activations page and details page information and indicators and associated statuses, the cause and effect matrix to show if SIF activations and final element actuations are meeting targets and fulfilling the specifications, how you can track performance over time for final elements to show things like valve degradation, recording and monitoring of proof test status and history as advised in the IEC 61511 standards, and how you can automatically claim proof test credit based on demand, meaning that you don't have to initiate a separate shutdown and can replace a scheduled test with an actual demand. We've also shown you all of the reports that are in SFM. Thank you for watching.